I'd like to share with you three productivity books that are really, really helpful for speech language pathologists. Now, there's times in life where the amount of work that we have is incredible. There's periods of the year where our work goes up and down. And then there's times in life when things in our personal life, really good things even, are going on. And it means that us and what we're doing at work needs to be pretty highly organized to make everything happen well. Well, the good news is that there's three books, three authors on productivity that I have found to be extremely helpful for what we do as speech language pathologists. Each one of these books is incredible unto its own right. They're good reads and they're also really, really great audiobooks. But I'd like to make a unique suggestion here. I would like to suggest that if you're going to read these, that you do them all together. And here's why. With each of them, super incredible helpful tips. But when you read all three of these books together, it's as if you've got three of the world's leading experts on productivity sitting around a table with you, sharing three completely different philosophies that are kind of puzzle pieces that fit together to make work manageable. And because these authors are so different, what they're suggesting and what we do really, really meets all of our personalities and the different ways we would go about making our days and lives easier. So we've got David Allen, author of Getting Things Done. We've got Greg McKeown, author of the book Essentialism. And we've got Gary Keller, author of The One Thing. So let's dive into the different aspects of these books, starting with Getting Things Done. So in Getting Things Done, David Allen does a great job talking about cognitively our brain's strengths and our brain's weaknesses. And he comes up with a system, most commonly known as GTD, Getting Things Done, for taking everything that we have and getting it out of our heads and getting it on paper so that we have a way of looking at it and organizing it in a very unique way. I love this quote of his, basically saying the brain is for having ideas, not for holding them. And if we try to juggle too much upstairs, it causes stress. So within his ideas, he proposes incredible ways to capture the work and the things coming at us and the requests for emails and the texts, a process for going through and identifying which ones are important, organizing them, reviewing them, and then choosing what you work on within that day. There is also this really brilliant aspect of it which speaks to his experience, where he helps us identify what it is we should actually be working on. And then this has to do with context and time availability and energy availability and priority. Here's an example. If you have 15 minutes between two clients versus if you have a 2-hour swath of time, you should be choosing completely different activities. Equally so, if that 15 minutes or 2 hours exists at 8 a.m. versus 4 p.m., you should be choosing completely different activities based on the energies that are present, based on the time that we have available. And conceptually, this is the first time I heard of anyone talk about the realities of our job and what we have available, whether it's the internet or whether we're in our car, and being able to choose things that we do that match that time of day. He has this environmental system where it's a way to organize things around where you are also. So can you be listening to a podcast in your car? What if your internet went out at the office or at home? What would you do? What if you forgot your stuff at school that you were supposed to bring to the next campus? Rather than driving back across town and losing an hour and a half in traffic, what are some things that you could do in that moment? Next up, The One Thing. This book is a hallmark book talking about how we can set aside everything else that's in our head to focus on just one thing. And it talks at length and provides a really, really solid argument as to why multitasking is a myth and actually doesn't get us ahead. He also dives into how this divided attention that we have can sap us of some of our energy. And if we can set things down and focus on that one thing, we can get it done. There's also this great aspect of this book which gives me a lot of peace, because he talks about times in which when you choose to do that one thing, write that one report, work with that one child, then other things are going to fall apart. Just by the nature of things, they are going to happen, and you can be okay with this. And lastly, that resting is as important as working. And he talks about how much better your interactions are and your levels of enjoyment are at the point that you're rested, and how seeing rest as contributing to the greater good rather than something that's fighting against what we want to accomplish or the time we have is actually serving us to rest. In this book, he asks this one really cool question. What is the one thing I can do whereby completing it will make everything else easier or obsolete? This is so true of me. As an example, in terms of dread, sometimes there's things that I put off, like Medicaid notes or writing a report. And because the deadline is looming near, it actually causes more work and more anxiety and thinking about it because of something I'm avoiding or not wanting to do. Conversely, when I finish that thing, I am happier than I could ever be because it's done and it's off my plate and I'm proud of what I produced and I can move on to something else. Greg McKeown's book, Essentialism, is also a really great tool in our arsenal because what he adds to this conversation is that it's not just about getting things done and it's not just about being busy for busy's sake or productive for productivity's sake, but what is the value of the things we're choosing to do? And what is the value of the career we've chosen and what we're doing within our day? And what I love about this book is that it layers the meaning back over all the things that we're doing and kind of brings us up way to 10,000 feet to look down on everything that we're contributing to the school we're contributing to the field, to our family, to our passions. And it takes this all into consideration. What Essentialism teaches is that in order for us to say yes to certain things, we have to say no to many other things. And it might just be not now, or it might be no at all. And sometimes this could be things that we enjoy or things that we're using to avoid some of the tasks that we're doing. And sometimes it's just to the demands of other people when they are creating priorities in our life when we know what the other priorities are, the essential ones. So the way they look at this is basically a typical process versus a productive process. Seeing things as what we need to do and choosing the smallest, easiest, and most enjoyable. And then in between the events, let's say we get it done, how much time are we spending before we're starting the other one versus a productive process where we're identifying what's most important to ourselves or to that day and really asking ourselves, is what we're working on actually getting us there? And we get started by setting rewards and fueling ourselves efficiently and choosing the right time of day to work in order to get it done. So there you have it. These three books, Getting Things Done, Essentialism, and The One Thing. Incredible books for SLPs and a great way for us to spend some of our summertime or extra time in the car on our commute listening to audiobooks.